All right, and welcome into the Betting Pros College Football Show. The tides have turned to the postseason. Coaches are arriving in their new homes. Playoff teams are preparing for their upcoming matchups, while others are getting ready to go bowling, baby. We'll, of course, take an early look at those CFP Round 1 games and make our official picks and predictions for the first wave of bowl games. I'm your host, Seth Woolcock, coming off a rather disappointing 2-3 championship weekend, and I'm joined by a man who is ready to put his best foot forward after once calling two G5 teams in the playoff, quote, fan fiction. He's got big-time Bogman. Boggs, how are you as mid-December and the postseason are upon us?
I mean, I was surprised that it happened, but I mean, look, it's just the way that it goes, right? So you were absolutely correct. I was mistaken. And in my mind, I had just put the ACC champion in there. And I also thought it was fan fiction because I thought, well, no way Duke's going to win this game. Virginia's going to win. And they choked. I had a bad conference championship week after like a good, 2 to 3 weeks leading up to it. But we're going to get better in bowl season here, and I like these bowls now. And by the way, some of these massive mismatches make for easy picks here. So,
yeah, I agree, and I think it was a big missed opportunity for me because I've been spewing on this how JMU could get to the playoffs. They were sitting out there 10-1 for a few weeks now, and I didn't get on them. So shame on me. I got to keep my head on a swivel.
Don't let me bully you next time. Go with your gut. Don't let me bully you.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we'll see today if you can bully me in or away from any lines. Today's program does look like this, Boggs. We're going to recap all the conference championship risers and fallers. Plus, we'll give you an early handicap for the first round college football playoff matchups. We'll then take you to our official picks and predictions for the Army-Navy game and that first set of bowl games happening over the next week or so. As always, shout out to everyone who's cutting up with us still on the Betting Pros YouTube channel or the audio feed. The easiest free way to support us, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. Also, if you're new, make sure you're subscribing to the channel so you don't miss a moment of college football betting and NFL betting coverage the rest of the way. Also, if you want a chance to score this signed A.J. Brown Philadelphia Eagles mini helmet for free, courtesy of our friends over at pristineauction.com, all you need to do is head to bettingpros.com/contest, complete the form, and either A, go ahead and download the free Betting Pros app today, B, leave a review for the Betting Pros podcast, C, subscribe to our social media channels. We are at Betting Pros on X and TikTok and at Betting Pros NFL on the Instagram. And of course, the more actions you complete, the more entries you're going to receive. And we will announce a winner right here on the program. So make sure you ring the bell so you can be alert when we have new shows up and to claim your prize if you are that lucky winner. Now, let's go ahead and go talk about what went down with the conference titles on the line over the weekend. First, we saw Kennesaw State survive Jacksonville State 19-15 in the CUSA championship game. Number 25, James Madison, they beat Troy 31-14 for the Sun Belt championship title. However, they did not cover in that one. Number 22, Tulane, they beat number 24, North Texas 34-21 for the American. Boise State gets the best of UNLV again, 38-21 for the Mountain West Championship. And then Western Michigan, they mowed down Miami, Ohio 23-13 at Ford Field in the MAC championship game. Number 4, Texas Tech, they complete the season sweep of number 11, BYU 34-7 for the Big 12 title. Number 3, Georgia, they absolutely whacked number 9, Alabama 28-7 in the SEC championship. And then Duke caused some chaos, winning 27-20 over number 17, Virginia in the ACC championship. That game got really tight and fun at the end. And then number 2, Indiana, they have remained perfect, had an injury scare on the first drive, first play for Fernando Mendoza. He comes back in, leads them 13-10 over number 1, Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. Boggs, betting risers and fallers from the action, and any surprises?
Yeah, there were a lot of surprises. I was surprised Ohio State didn't beat Indiana. That was pretty shocking. I felt, and it was a great game, and the yardage was close. Ohio State's offense just couldn't move the ball against Indiana, really. It was 322 yards, 4 of 12 on third downs, only 17 first downs, Sayin threw a pick. It was a low-scoring, gross. It felt like an outdoor game that was indoors, right? That's kind of how I felt about that one. Not surprised that Georgia beat Bama. I just think the level of football that those two squads have been playing, that was the way that was going to go. I was shocked Duke beat Virginia. Now, you have all the incentive to go and ruin someone else's season.
Mm-hmm.
I could not believe Virginia choked that game. That was a tough one. We got exactly what we thought out of Texas Tech and BYU. I don't think either one of us really had a thought that BYU was going to be in that game. And
Nope.
Texas Tech is clearly a top 4 team. So can their offense hold up in the tournament? That's going to be the question. I was surprised that I got some of these G5 games correct. I was surprised that I got Kennesaw State because you were on Jacksonville State, and as soon as you said Jacksonville State, I went, ugh. Maybe I should have gone with Jacksonville State because you know these schools a little bit better, but I whiffed on North Texas. We both did. Jake Retzlaff was just awesome.
They had one foot out the door, I think, heading to Stillwater, honestly. North Texas did not show up.
You're right. And then I was shocked that UNLV, again, this UNLV versus Boise State feels like Texas against Georgia to me right now. Like, they just have their number. They can't get past them. 3 in a row
for the Mountain West Championship game, man.
Yeah, I know. And that is, again, they do it again. And then to see JMU beat down Troy and not cover was upsetting, but not surprising, right? Like, Troy showed up a little bit, but it's still 411 yards to 177.
They almost got there at the end. They were on the 12-yard line. We also had Troy have all their timeouts, and I was thinking they were going to try to use them, so JMU would have to try to get in the end zone one more time. And then they just, they called mercy roll pretty much, stopped calling the timeouts. JMU just kneeled it away. But we were about 10 yards away from covering, so I was excited to at least be, within
that
play
last
there for
tackle.
a second.
You text me, actually,
yes,
after that last tackle on the sideline, because if he wiggles out of that tackle, he's in.
Yep.
So we were, of course, watching that with bated breath, and it did not come through for us. But it's a game of inches, even in betting. So good weekend, not for the result, but I also kind of think they got this playoff somewhat correct, right?
I think so.
It's not the 12 best teams, but it never was going to be the 12 best teams, right?
No.
You were going to have that automatic bid anyway, and since the ACC kicked each other around this entire season and no one really rose to the cream of the crop, right?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't surprising to see Duke win this game in a conference that's so close. So
play stupid games with your tiebreakers, win stupid prizes. That's how
they got to fix that. 100%.
Yep.
And they'll fix that this offseason for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I also, I don't understand this bowing out of bowl game crybaby nonsense.
Join a conference if you want to
join
start
a conference.
About it. Yeah.
Quit crying. And also, I saw, and I know a lot of people don't like Emmanuel Acho. I understand that. Texas guy. I like Emmanuel Acho. But him and Sam both played at Texas. Love the Achos. But he was right in what he said recently. He said, look, it's not just the football team. It's cheer. It's color guard. It's band. It's all the parents for the seniors didn't know that was the last game that their kids were going to play. So I just think this is a really bad move by Notre Dame. I think it's a crybaby move, and I really don't like it. Like, with Chris Kleiman retiring, with Matt Campbell leaving in the process, I don't like those either. I'll say that, but they're more understandable. And those teams are still getting fined a hefty amount. I have no idea if Notre Dame is going to.
I don't think there's anyone to find them.
They have no conference, right?
Yeah, right.
So they got, because those schools got fined by the Big 12.
Yeah.
So, and I also, I tell you what else happened this week is the Big 12 is going to adopt the ACC replay review, which I love. I think every single place should do that.
Yeah.
The NFL should do it. Every single conference should do it. It's just more transparency, specifically in this land of gambling. I think it's very smart.
Yeah, a ton of head coaching movement over the past couple of weeks as well. We just got
Sharon Moore before we started.
Yeah,
Whoa.
It is. Yeah, a lot of things going down. And before we get out of the conference championship game recap, I just want to say, shout out to our friends over at Western Michigan, man. Maction for life. That was the least sweaty game of the week for us. So I really appreciate them coming through for us. Maction, man, had a really good season betting on the MAC, probably better than any other conference. So I can appreciate that, especially after getting off to kind of a bad start there, laying a ton of points with Buffalo against I think it was Kent State in week 2, and that backfired. So. Yeah, really, really fun week. You and I should have probably also bet that under that we are leaning towards in the IU-Ohio State game. I know we talked about that, and neither one of us went to that. So I think just something to look back on. Those defenses, I think, do outweigh the offenses just a little bit. But love this time in the sport, man. So fun.
Who's going to win the Heisman?
Oh, it's Mendoza after that.
I think so, too. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I have a Jeremiah Love 80-1 ticket from preseason. I would love for him to cash, but it's not happening. So let's go, Fernando. I like that kid's moxie. I like the cut of his jib. And
I saw a scouting report for him, and it was pros, and it was everything, and then cons, he's a dork. That was
he is.
That was it's pretty accurate. So good kid, good quarterback. So
now with the bracket set, though, Boggs, let's go ahead and get into the early picks and line movement predictions for the CFP first round matchups. We're going to start in Norman, where the books are scattered all around on this one for a Friday, December 19th matchup, listing the number 9 Alabama Crimson Tide anywhere from 1.5 point favorites to 1.5 point underdogs against the 8th ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Bama, they come off an SEC championship game against UGA where they were really never in it, losing 28-7. That drops them to 10-3 ATS and straight up. One of those losses did come to the Sooners on November 15th, losing 23-21. Ty Simpson, he has fallen off quite a lot in efficiency as of late, man. And the running back room, they continue to struggle a little bit. Jam Miller, he is banged up. Ryan Williams, I talked about it last week. This guy's kind of a ghost right now. And we also have them rolling in with a top 23 passing offense and a top 12 scoring and total defense. OU, meanwhile, they were off this past weekend, but in rivalry week, they barely got by LSU. I know you were probably hoping they would lose that one, maybe put Texas into the dance. But that dropped them to 7-5, ATS 10-3 straight up. And getting after the quarterback at a nation-high clip, converting 100% of their red zone possessions into scores has carried this team really throughout the season, especially as John Mateer continues to turn the ball over, had 3 interceptions against the Tigers a few weeks ago. So, Boggs, both these teams are obviously pretty flawed, right, coming into the postseason. But regardless, one of them will have a date with number 1 Indiana in the quarterfinals. Any early lean on who that may be?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Alabama in this game. And I know this is a tough road game in Norman. That place is going to be rocking. It's going to be a lot of fun to see football there in December. Going to be a blast. But, I know they lost the last matchup to Oklahoma, and, but they did put up 406 yards in that game. They held Oklahoma to 212. They possessed the ball for 34-28 to 25-32. OU had 6 punts, 5 penalties. That was 4 punts and 2 penalties for Bama in this game. OU was 3 for 13 on third downs. They only had 12 first downs the entire game. Bama had the 3 turnovers. That is what changed the fates of that game, because the box score, you look at a team that dominated yardage and time of possession. That was Bama by a lot, right? So I feel like Bama is going to play a much more efficient game the second time around. It's what we see. A lot of mistakes are made. Obviously, it's hard to beat the same team twice. Ask Virginia. They'll tell you. But, this happens all the time in college sports when a team has to meet in the conference championship. We just saw it with Alabama and Georgia, right? Bama won that first matchup. Georgia adjusted and won. So I don't think that Bama is playing their best football. I understand that, which makes this game a little bit closer than I would like. Yeah. Oklahoma is a very scary defense. They can get those turnovers as well. But I think you have extra time to prep here. You have time to cut down on those mistakes. I feel like Bama is the better team, and I do think they'll advance. So I'm going to take Bama just on the money line right now. If I could get them plus points, then okay, but I don't think it matters. So give me Bama in the money line.
Do you think if you want Bama, you should be taking them now, though, because they are out there as underdogs or favorites, really any way you want to go with this one? Obviously, you would take the underdog if at a 1.5 if you want them. So do you think we no longer see Bama underdog tickets at some point next week?
Yeah, I think the betting is going to go towards Alabama, but right now I don't know that we have. Let me just double check. Yeah, we don't have enough ticket info yet to tell us which way this is going. But the fact that it's, now the Sooners are plus 1.5 when they start out as 1.5 point favorites in most books, I think that is the way it's going. So I do think if you want Bama plus points, take it wherever you can get it now, because a week from now it's not going to be available.
Yeah, this might be a game I have to tease the under or something and boost that up and put it with something else, because we are going to have an in-game live first half betting coverage show here on the BettingPros YouTube channel and on the Fantasy Pros Twitch channel. So I'm going to have a play in this game going into it, Boggs. I'm just not sure exactly what way I want to go. I'm actually a little scared. I definitely don't think I can be on the Bama side just with what I've seen from them over the past several weeks. I mean, Oklahoma hasn't necessarily inspired me either. but their defense is certainly still there. And I feel like Bama's offense kind of starting to leak a little bit of oil. So I think I might try to tease this up as much as I can, see if this total continues to go up, which I think it could be if people are going to continue to bet it. So that's kind of probably be the way I'm going to approach this one. But, we'll have another show next week with our official picks and predictions. And again, Bog's really looking forward to that live stream on Friday night for this one.
It's going to be fun, man. Those live streams are always fun. I did one with Joe last year. I do one every Thursday on ITL. So it's streaming and talking football during the game is a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, can't beat it, baby. Only thing that make that a little bit better is beer, right?
That's right.
Football, talking with your friends, and beer. Those are the three things that I look forward to just about every single weekend. Let's go ahead, though. Let's move to Saturday at noon, where the 10th ranked Miami Hurricanes, they roll into College Station to face off with the 7th ranked Texas A&M Aggies as 3.5-point underdogs. Miami, they can thank BYU for getting blown out in the Big 12 championship game. That moved them next to Notre Dame, where the head-to-head came into play. They then jumped over the Irish to get into the dance. They're 10-2 straight up, and ATS, their outright losses came to Louisville and at SMU earlier in the season. Their quarterback, Carson Beck, this guy's been super hit or miss really his whole career. That continued for the U. He leads the ACC in completion percentage, but also in interceptions as well. He does, however, have ACC Rookie of the Year Malachi Toney as disposal, and this kid has been a superstar, man.
Yes.
Ruben Bain and also Keem Mesidor, these guys have become one of the best fronts in the country, putting the U 7th in rushing defense, 16th in total defense as well. A&M, they took their only outright loss of the season last time out against Texas, falling to 11-1 straight up, 5-7 ATS. Their quarterback, Marcel Reed, who he was on a podcast this week saying, hey, if someone throws more money at me, I have to talk to my parents about what I want to do. But anyway, he leads the SEC in yards per completion. And that's thanks in part due to his stud wide receivers, KC Concepcion, who transferred in, and Mario Craver as well. They're 20th in total offense, 19th in total defense, but they can struggle with being undisciplined in the penalties and turnover department. So, Boggs, this is another spot where neither team is perfect, but I think they have a ton of playmakers on both sides of the ball. So, what's your early read, and what's your thought on the potential line movement we might see?
Yeah, this one it's the only other first round game that it has a tough pick, right? I think the other two are extremely easy. We won't have to go super deep into those games. But in this game, this one is tough. Miami is 6th in scoring defense. We saw Marcel Reed look a little rough in his last game against Texas with happy feet. He's sailing a little bit of throws. So I think I'm going to be on the Miami side here. Bain and Mesidor are going to challenge the Aggies offensive line. But left tackle Trey Zune, he's been the best blocking offensive tackle in the nation according to PFF grades, and he's only allowed 1 sack all year and has had 0 penalties. So he's going to be tough to get around no matter who is over there. But however, the rest of the O-line has only allowed 2 sacks, but they've been penalized a ton and they've allowed a lot of pressure, right? So the rest of the line is not as good as Zune, but the line is pretty strong. I think this should be a tight one. I feel like Miami is a better team, and as long as I'm going to get the hook on the 3.5, I'm going to take Miami here. I'm going to be on the Canes. Beck can lose this game. As you mentioned, he's been very, very hit or miss in his career, and he definitely can lose this game. But he's been in big-time spots before. They've come through. They've had extra time to prepare for this game. Maybe it's just wishful thinking because, of course, I picked against Oklahoma, and I'm picking against A&M here. I understand that everyone needs to take that with a grain of salt when it's the Texas fan picking against A&M and Oklahoma here. But I feel like A&M was exposed against Texas, and Miami should have never been a question to get in. But, again, like I said last week, don't lose to SMU then. You don't want to be a question, then don't lose SMU and fix the weird tiebreaker stuff in your conference, right? So I wouldn't have minded if Miami did not make it, right? And if they had put Notre Dame in, wouldn't have made any difference to me. I bet Miami would have showed up for their game, by the way. But the fact that the Canes have been in playoff mode probably since that SMU game, and I heard J.D. Pickell talk about that, and I think that was a great point, that the playoff mindset that they've had since that SMU game, I think just helps them. On stepping into the playoffs here. They've had that mindset for a while now. A&M hasn't had that, right? They had hey, look, we're cruising, we're undefeated. All we got to do is beat Texas to get the SEC title game, and that blew up in their face. So I think this one might too. A&M is favored because they're at home, which gives us the points. I'm taking those points at 3.5.
Yeah, I think I will probably end up being on Miami in this one because, like, initial first look when the lines were dropped, Boggs, I was like, all right, like, I trust the SEC over the ACC. But then you think, like, Miami doesn't really play like an ACC team this year, right? They're kind of like an SEC-like team with that defensive front. Their offensive line isn't half bad either. And, like, if I could bet player props, Malachi Toney, I think, is going to have a huge game because I don't think A&M's
0 drops this year.
Yeah, I just don't think that A&M secondary can keep up with him, right? He is explosive. And, like, at the same time, too, like, you kind of pointed it out, like, Miami, they have a guy in Carson Beck. While he's not the best in big spots, he's at least been in big spots before. And how many times have we seen a team take a late season loss heading into a conference championship game or into a playoff like this, and then they just drop a second one and their season's done, right? So I think Miami's playing with house money, right? They're not even supposed to be here.
Right. They're not supposed to be here today. And by the way, that line for Miami against Cassius Howell, and we've talked about this. A&M, number one team in the country in sacks per game. Or I don't know if they finished there. Yes, they did. 3.42 so per game. So number one, but this is the second highest graded blocking offensive line in the country for Miami. So I think they have issues putting pressure on Beck. I think the right side of the line is the problem for A&M. We saw that against Texas. I think those are the weak points that I find for A&M to knock them. They're a very good team. They're at home. They could easily win this game. If Carson Beck makes those massive mistakes that we've seen him make, then they will lose this game. But he is a veteran. He's been in this spot before. He's gone through it. He's had a million starts. I expect him to have a good game here.
Is 3.5 the best number we're going to get, you think, on Miami?
Absolutely. I think if you want to get that, you need to get it pretty soon. I think it's going to go the way of Miami because I got to be honest, I don't think I've heard many people picking A&M in the public. So
that's a good point.
I think this line is going to flip towards the Canes, and you're going to lose that hook pretty quick here.
I saw one young lad on YouTube this past week. He actually simmed the college football playoff, and Miami was the winner. So, hey,
wow, the whole winner.
The whole winner. So
I think they get drummed out in the next round, but we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Folks, make sure you're downloading the free BettingPros app today so you can track these bets and get line alerts straight to your mobile device. With Sportsbook Sync, you can automatically track your bets across all major books in just one simple spot. Easily monitor your bet performance by sport and bet type, including game picks, props, and of course parlays as well. Create custom betting systems to find winning trends and profitable opportunities. Get a 7-day free trial of BettingPros Premium by downloading the app at bettingpros.com/apps and using the code JUICE. That's JUICE, promo code JUICE, activating your trial on the upgrade screen. It'll be a Saturday afternoon to remember in Oxford as the number 6 Ole Miss Rebels, they host their first college football playoff game as 17 to 17.5 point favorites over the 11th seed Tulane Green Wave. Lane Kiffin, he has allowed 4 assistant coaches to return to Oxford to join new coach Pete Golding in preparation for this game. This comes after a very dominating Egg Bowl performance to get them to 11-1 straight up. 7-5 ATS. The Rebs, they roll out a top 3 passing offense, led of course by Trinidad Chambliss. Their backfield, they got Kawan Lacey in it, who leads the SEC in touchdowns, rush attempts, and plays from scrimmage. The Green Wave, they come into the CFB with the news that they'll promote OC Will Hall to head coach following John Sumrall's departure to Florida. The transition has not phased them. Of course, Sumrall's still going to be with them for this game as well, as they shut down North Texas's top-ranked offense last week, holding them to just 21 points, winning the American Conference Championship by 13. Tulane, they are now 11-2 straight up, 6-1 ATS. And their quarterback, Jake Retzloff, he is their dude-all man. He's leading the team in rushing, also has thrown for over 2,800 yards this season. Boggs, I thought the difference in the AAC championship for North Texas would be Tulane's 123rd ranked passing defense, and they've also allowed the 121st most 10-yard plus plays. It wasn't. I think it might work here, though. Do you think it does?
I don't think it does. I think Ole Miss rolls right over Tulane. We've already seen this matchup this year, right? This was 45-10 before. So the yardage in this game, 548 yards for Ole Miss. They had 241 on the ground, 307 through the air. They held Tulane to 282 yards, and they punted once the entire game. They had 23 first downs, 7-11 on third downs. I mean, it was just extremely efficient for Ole Miss. Do I think it's going to be that efficient? Do I think they're going to win by 35? No. But I do think they're going to win by 3 touchdowns in this game. I just think the talent is a little bit too overwhelming. We talked about how, the first 2 games are tough to pick. I don't think these next 2 really are. I think everything's on the line here. Maybe Ole Miss, with the coaching issues and, some players probably have one foot out the door. Maybe Tulane makes this closer because of that. I don't think so. I think this is still going to be a beatdown. And I think the next round is where you see Ole Miss maybe get taken advantage of in that space. Yeah. So, but here I think they roll right over Tulane. I don't think this game is going to be very close.
Yeah, this might actually be the second half of my teaser. I might take this down to 13.5 points just because I do worry that I'm not sure exactly if the offense will look as good without Lane behind the headset and drawing up the scheme for the week. But at the same time, when they did face Tulane earlier in the season, Boggs, that was one of Trinidad's first start. It might have actually been his first start of the season when they won 45-10. So I'm with you on Ole Miss. It's just going to be a matter of what number do I take. Do you think that this number continues to expand throughout the week? Probably.
That I don't think. I think it's not the top number it's going to be is 20.5, I believe. So I think that's the highest it could go to. I don't think many people are going to take over 3 scores, so 21.5. So I think it sticks below that, and I'm fine at anything under that. We're showing value at right around 20. Okay. So I think that's probably a better number to get it at 19.5. But I'm fine with anything less than 3 touchdowns.
The final first-round game kicks off from Eugene on Saturday, December 20th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the 5th-seeded Oregon Ducks. They're hosting the 12th-seed James Madison Dukes as 21.5 to 23.5-point favorites. JMU, they got here with an 11-1 straight up and 8-5 ATS record. They have become the 5th highest-ranked conference champion. That is what pushed them in coming out of the Sun Belt undefeated in conference play. Head coach Bob Chesney, he is right now really, I think, I don't want to say struggling, but definitely a challenge for him to juggle both starting his new job at UCLA and preparing for this game. Of course, we know Billy Napier, the former Florida Gators head coach, he is ready to take over after the Dukes playoff run. JMU's running back Wayne Knight, this guy was sensational last week, almost got us that cover single-handedly. He is now 10th in the country in rushing yards after popping off for over 200 against Troy. Dual threat quarterback Alonzo Barnett III, he remains under center, leading this team to the 10th ranked scoring offense, largely predicated on that run game. They also have the 2nd ranked total defense, but that is a bit weighted because of their 109th ranked strength of schedule, so keep that in mind. Oregon, their only loss this season was to number 1 Indiana all the way back in October, so that doesn't look as bad. They're also 8-4 ATS this season. Their 9th ranked scoring offense is led by quarterback Dante Moore, their tight end Kenyon Sadiq, and running back Noah Whittington. Their top 4 total defense is also littered with a ton of talent at all 3 levels. Boggs, I really wanted to see JMU make some noise in the CFP, but here we are in Eugene, tough environment to play. I'm just not sure there's a way to get invested other than hoping this line continues to grow and grow and grow, and I can get it at the biggest number I can. Maybe we'll use a boost for that as well. That's going to be my strategy, is just sit and wait, see if this can get any bigger, and then hop on JMU at the very last second. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not taking JMU in this game.
Oh, come on.
I think you said it, right? Like, a coach with one foot out the door is never a good thing. It's specifically when you have a mismatch of this magnitude. And to me, we did see JMU play one, P4 school. That was Louisville. They got crushed 28-14. They lost by 2
Washington
touchdowns.
State, too. I don't know if you consider them P4 or not anymore, but
yeah, but they should have lost that game. They won because they had a pick 6 in that game.
Yeah,
so they
good
beat
point. That's
Washington
fair.
State, but the difference between Washington State and Oregon is an ocean. It's an abyss, right? Like,
Yeah.
It's so huge. So I just don't see how they're in this game. That's really the thing. And look, they didn't do bad defensively against Louisville. They held Louisville to 264 yards. They sacked Miller Moss 6 times.
Yeah.
This was a strong defensive performance for them. They're not going to have that against Oregon. They're not going to have that anywhere close to that against Oregon. So, I don't like how big the line is. We are showing value towards JMU in this line, which makes me not love it. But this is a game where I'm probably going to have some player props. I don't think I'm going to have. I may go JMU team total under once we get to see what the total
13.5 right now is what I've seen. So I would actually be inclined to go over maybe on that.
What's Oregon's team total?
I couldn't tell you on that. Whatever would be the total minus 13.5. So I'm guessing you're probably looking mid-30s, probably 33.5 is probably what you're
if it's
find.
anything under 35. I auto take, and I think I might take that up to like 41.5 for Oregon. So I'll be on their team total over. I think they're going to put the boots to them. The only thing that scares me is this is a massive line, and if you're crushing them in the first half, do you just play it safe and run in the first half and then punt a lot and let them climb back in, right? So the line is too big for me to love it, but I cannot take James Madison. So even if this goes up to like, I guess the number would have to get up to like 24.5 for me to even consider James Madison. So, and I don't think it's going to get there. I think it gets up to 22 or 23.5. I don't think it goes up to 24.5. So I'll probably stay away from this game for the most part, but we'll have more for this on next week. So
yeah, is that 23.5 right now at our friends from Hard Rock Bet?
Is it really already?
It is
21.5 yesterday.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. So
maybe there will be wiggle room to get on JMU, but I still won't do it. I don't think. We'll see.
Listen, I have not been to the beautiful city of Eugene yet. I've been down there to JMU a time or two. I've driven through there. It's a good little spot. They got a nice little town there. I think they're going to be buzzing. I think you're going to see some of the more well-off
Are they all going to
folks.
go to Eugene all the way across the country, by the way?
I don't know. Maybe.
What time is that game? Is that an afternoon game?
7:30 p.m. Eastern time, my friend.
Dude, just the history of the East Coast going to the West Coast. We just saw it with the Eagles against the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Your body clock is off on late games there as well.
Yeah.
This all adds up for bad things for James Madison. So I'm going to be off of James Madison. I don't know if I want to take Oregon with that many points on the line, but I just don't like this game.
Okay. Well, I'm going to have some way to get invested back, my boy PFT and the entire Dukes Nation up there, Boggs. I'll have that official play for you next week, though, when I figure out how to get invested with them. Let's keep it moving, though. We're going to now jump into the upcoming bowl games, and we are shifting from the college football rankings back to the AP rankings, just so when I throw out some numbers, you guys know where that's coming from. And we're actually going to start with the Army-Navy game, which kicks off this Saturday from M&T and Bank Stadium in Baltimore. This is at 3 p.m. Eastern time with the number 22 Navy Midshipmen. They're laying between 6 and 6.5 points on the 6-5 Army Black Knights. This is traditionally a very low scoring game. Navy, of course, they won last year 31-13. The Midshipmen, they finished third in the American at 7-1 in conference play, 9-2 overall, 4-7 ATS, and they did lose out on the conference championship game due to tiebreakers. They're the top-ranked rushing offense in the country. They are also bottom 8 in pace, converting third down to the 12th highest clip, so very hard to get them off the field. They do have questionable, though. They're starting right guard, their tight end, and their cornerback. Army, meanwhile, they were 4-4 in AAC play, 5-6 ATS. They also possess a top 5 rushing offense, a bottom 5 pace on offense as well, but they are one of the top teams in the country at controlling the clock and time possession and limiting penalties as well. Very disciplined group, but would you expect anything else from a service academy? Army, their right guard is banged up. BP projections right now, we have Navy by 5.5. So Boggs, you know me, I love watching the service academies. Unfortunately, though, I was 0-3 when I got invested with them this year. So I am out on this one. I will watch it. I will have a good time with it. But I'm just going to sit on the sidelines. Do you have a play?
I like the over in this game. I think this is set too low at 38.5. Navy has a little more on offense. Blake Horvath wasn't possible for Army to stop last season. I think that's going to happen again. Horvath, I just think Navy can definitely score. So it's just Army scoring in this game. Obviously, like you mentioned, they both played a slow pace, eat up a lot of clock. They run, they chew it. It's first versus fifth rushing offense here, right? Like, so we know this is going to be a lower scoring game, but it went over last year. And all we got to do is get to 40 points here and we're over. So we're showing value there on our BP system. And I like the over because I know Navy's going to score. I think they put up 24 to 30, somewhere in that range. So it's just getting more than a touchdown from Army. And Navy's pretty good, but their tackling has been miserable. And I think it's been real bad. I think they grade 124th. We know that Army is also not getting penalized. They're first in the country, only getting one penalty a game. So
it's crazy.
I like the discipline that we have from Army, and I like the fact that Navy is a little undisciplined in their tackling. So it's just getting 10 points from Army. I think Navy does the rest. So I'm going to go with the over in this game.
My heart tells me I should go there as well, especially because I watched so closely that Navy Air Force game earlier this season, and Navy just could not stop them, right? Navy could not stop them. Air Force, they throw the ball a little bit more than Army does, though, and their tackling, as you mentioned, was just atrocious in that specific game. So for me, I want to go with the over, but the pace of play is what scares me, Boggs. And I was also on the Army Temple over a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so this point.
Does it make you feel any better that Navy was 8-3 to the over this year?
What was Army, though? I think they would probably
4-7.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. No play.
But we expect Navy to pace this game, don't we? And they're 5.5-point favorites.
I would take. I think I would take a Navy team total before I would take the just over on the game, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
So
yeah.
Let's go ahead though, Boggs, and move over Capital One because the Coca-Cola Bowl season kicks off on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time from SoFi Stadium with the LA Bowl, the 9-4 Mountain West Championship. Boise State Broncos, they are catching between 9 and 9.5 points against the 8-4 Washington Huskies. Boise, they just won their third straight conference title over UNLV. They won 38-21 with quarterback Maddox Maxson back under center. He looked great. And their potential opt-outs include safety Ty Benefield, their left tackle Cage Casey as well will be declaring for the NFL draft. Washington, they really sputtered at the end of the season. They lost to Wisconsin back in early November and then to Oregon 26-14 last time out. They potentially have opting out running back Jonah Coleman, wide receiver Denzel Boston, and cornerback DeCardio Davis. However, Jed Fish did come out and say that he expects everyone to play aside from some of those long-term injuries. That includes Davis. So they should be getting back their starting safety and their center who missed that Oregon game. BP projections right now, we have UW by nearly 11.5 points. I would personally, I think, like to take Boise State if Coleman and Boston are out of this one. But if they're not, I think I'm just going to be boring. Another stay away from me. What about you, Scotty?
I mean, dude, this is the exact same thought process I had. I started writing up this game thinking, no way Denzel Boston plays. No way Jonah Coleman plays.
I think they would, yeah.
Yeah. And then Jed Fish says, we expect everyone to play. And I guess his wife was at an award ceremony with Jonah Coleman recently while he was on a scouting trip or a recruiting trip or something. I don't know.
Okay.
But so they're connected, right? I feel like he knows his players very, very well. So it seems like they're going to show up. Obviously, maybe something happens, but we would have heard about it by now. They're all going to play. I'm going to take Washington in this game. I think I'm with you. I would have wanted to take Boise State.
Yeah.
But with Washington playing, and just they match up really well here. Like Washington's not in the upper echelon of the Big Ten this year, obviously, but they're still in the USC, Michigan, Illinois area of this conference.
Bottom of that tier, I would say, but right in there with Illinois. Yeah.
Call them bottom of that tier. That's still way better than Boise State, in my opinion. So they haven't run the ball very well this season, but Boise State's run defense is awful. I think they're gonna have success doing that. And the red zone scoring for Boise State has also been one of their worst statistical things this year. They're 124th in allowing red zone scoring. So Boise also blitzes like crazy, and Demon Williams has a 55.3 completion percentage against the blitz or against when pressured. That's 13 out of 149 quarterbacks ranked with 150 dropbacks this year.
Interesting.
So they match up well. They can run the ball and will be better at running the ball against Boise State. I think that's going to give their offense more balanced, the balance that they want against a team like Boise State, and I think they win this one by 2 touchdowns. So give me the Huskies, and I'll lay the points here.
Okay. We've got a couple of conference runner-ups squaring off in the Salute to Veterans Bowl from Montgomery, Alabama, kicking off on Tuesday, December 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The 8-5 Troy Trojans are 3.5 to 4-point favorites over the 8-5 Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Troy, they just lost to JMU 31-14 in the Sun Belt Championship game, but they did cover, bringing them to 9-4 ATS. They did lose quarterback Goose Crowder late in that game. He was seen on crutches afterwards, and they're starting running back Trey Meadows. He has hit the portal. Jack State, they're clawed their way back into the lead of the CUSA Conference Championship game after being down 2 scores late in the fourth quarter, looked all but over, and then they just gave it right back to Kennesaw State to lose. That pushed them to 6-7 ATS. And they could still be without their left guard, Adrian Gum, and their cornerback, Tyron Taylor. The BP projections right now, we have this closer to 2.5 points. So I am once again tempted to get invested with Jack State, specifically because they have a top 5 ranked rushing offense. Troy is 112th against the run. But Boggs, they've burned me a few times here as of late. And you got a Kennesaw State ticket to the window last week, so we continue to fade the Gamecocks.
No, I'm rolling with Jacksonville State here. I think your first assessment is absolutely correct, right? They have that strong rushing game against a weak rushing defense. And specifically with Goose Crowder probably not playing in this game. There's a potential that he's been mentioned in the portal as well, so he may be portaling it. We'll see.
Great name, by the way. Also, apparently they said on that broadcast, 100%. I don't know if you caught it, but he was a big Top Gun fan growing up, so he picked the nickname Goose. So
yeah. I mean, great name for him, absolutely. But I don't think we see him in this game. And this is what we were worried about for Troy against James Madison, right? I kept referencing, hey, look, they just gave up 351 rushing yards to ODU. Well, they gave up 318 to James Madison. So 217 to Memphis in that loss. Archie beat them on defense, only allowing them to have 187 yards. So Jacksonville State isn't perfect, but this is the best matchup. Like the roster strength from my guys at CFB Winning Edge, 94 versus 95 here. So it's tight, but we have opt-outs, transfer portal, and injuries for Troy. For Jacksonville State, their guys are coming back. You know, Troy can still be in this one because Tucker Kilcrease, he started 7 games for Troy this year. They were 5-2 in that stretch, but I also love that this game is in Alabama for both these Alabama teams.
Yes.
I think it's an hour away from Troy and 2 hours away from Jacksonville, so it should be represented there. But give me Jacksonville State to run this ball right down Troy's throat. I don't know why we're catching points here. I don't understand why Troy is favored. So we're getting points for Jacksonville State. I don't think that lasts, so go ahead and get it as soon as you can.
Yeah, maybe you talked me into it because my heart wants to go with Cook and Creel one more time. But it's just been so heartbreaking the way they've lost these games as of late. So
Cajuns, man, take the Cajuns in the bowl game. They're going to win this one.
All right, let's get to Orlando, which will once again host the Cure Bowl with the 9-3 Old Dominion Monarchs. They're catching 5.5 to 6.5 points against the 9-3 South Florida Bulls. ODU, they had a really strong season. They finished second in the Sun Belt East Division, and it really should have been in the conference finals if it wasn't for those dang divisions. And they were 7-5 ATS and actually blew out Troy, who we just talked about, 33-0 in mid-November. They were led by 2025 Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year, quarterback Colton Joseph, who was second in the conference in passing touchdowns with 21, fourth in rushing yards with over 1,000. So this guy was really their whole offense. And he'll be out of this one, right? So this leaves freshman Quinn Henikel under center, who rushed for 200 yards in his one start in 2024. Also questionable is their cornerback, Bostros Alonso. And what started as a Cinderella season with a couple upset wins over Boise State ended on a rather disappointing note for South Florida. They dropped AAC games to Memphis and Navy down the stretch. Head coach Al Gulash, he is also heading towards Auburn, taking his offensive coordinator and some key members of that staff with him. They're already on the road, so they are gone. They will not be a part of the bowl prep. It's unknown whether quarterback Byron Brown will be up for this one. He led the country in total touchdowns, 42. He did say, though, while he's still mulling over whether he's going to transfer or potentially enter the NFL draft, that we, quote, have one more game following USF's regular season finale. They could also be without their cornerback, James Chenault, and their defensive end, Denard Flowers, who are injured. BP projections, we set this line at over 7.5 points. Boggs, this is another spot where I have a bit of a mixed feel, specifically with the opt-outs. I think I am leaning towards the under, though. No Joseph, no USF offensive staff. I think that puts both these teams at a disadvantage on the offensive side, despite them playing at a very fast pace. What about you?
Nah, I like the over here still.
Interesting.
Because it's Byron Brown, man. Like, as long as he's playing, I like the over for the game. I like the over for USF as well, because I think if he plays in this game, he's going to want to let it rip, right? Like, you're not going there to run the ball a million times. You're not going to come and play this game to run the ball a million times. Now, this is a big if. This is a massive if, right? Because Colton Joseph's already out the door. So we know ODU is not going to score their traditional amount of points. I think that USF could get most of this if Byron Brown is playing in this game. So that's why... both teams are average on defense. ODU played a weak schedule. USF was 7-5 to the over. USF is number 1 in pace. ODU is 28. So even with a backup quarterback with a little bit of extra time to prepare here, maybe that's going to be good because they do pace quickly as well. ODU is strong on defense statistically and in grade, but they have played one of the weakest offensive schedules, man. They faced Virginia Tech, who's 114th in scoring, Liberty, who's 81st, Coastal, who's 103rd, App State is 84th, ULM is 130th, Georgia State is 119th. That's 50% of their schedule right there. Is against teams in the 80s or lower in scoring. So just awful schedule when you really break it down. When they did face decent offenses, the Indiana game was the only one, and by the way, they turned the ball over twice in the red zone in that game, so they probably should have had closer to 40 than the 27 that they had, but we saw them just get rocked 63-27 against JMU. 48 they gave to Marshall as well. So USF is going to win. I think they're going to score a lot of points, so I think I would lay the 6 for USF with no issue at all. I like the over as well. If you are concerned about ODU doing their end, I would say the team total for USF is fine. Again, all if Byron Brown is playing, which right now it seems like he is playing. So we'll roll with it. If he opts out, I just take the under for the game, like Seth said initially. So it's a massive swing, but Byron Brown, like you said, led the country in touchdowns this year. So I believe in him if he's going to end up playing in this game.
I think we're going to have a grudge match on this one. I think either with him, without him, I love the under. I still like it a lot, though, even if he's in this game, because none of ODU's past 5 games have gone over this 55.5 point total. Also, only 4 of 11 of their games have hit this mark this season as well. They have the 20th best scoring defense. Again, some of that is predicated on who they've played. But they also get after the quarterback, man, at a top 11 clip. And that's something that may trouble USF, a program that took the 31st most sacks per game this season. ODU is also terrible at scoring in the red zone, 119th in red zone scoring percent, and will also likely get worse without Joseph. I will probably also, throw out a ticket for South Florida just to cover this line if Old Dominion if South Florida is going to be without Brown. Or with Brown, excuse me. But, yeah, I just love the under. I think it's my favorite play of the week. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm very, very high on it. I think, dude, ODU, they're not bad on defense. The only time they really got, the doors kicked off them were against JMU, who, that's everyone.
I think the sacks that they give up at USF, Byron Brown makes up for him, right? And I think those are obviously those are his time to throw, right? Like that's really what it is. And they're first in pace. Like it all really does depend on him, right? They're top 24 in 10+ yard plays. So is ODU. They were 17th in plays over 10 yards. So like I think there's explosive plays available for both these squads. And I just really like Byron Brown. If he's going to roll in this game, I think he wants to put up as many points as he can before he...
Does he play the whole game, though, or does he pull a Cam Ward? Like, that's the other thing.
Well, if he doesn't play the whole game, it's probably because they've already scored 48 points. So.
Okay, all right. Fair enough. Let's head south to the site of the Senior Bowl, Mobile, Alabama, for the 68 Ventures Bowl, where things get underway on Wednesday, December 17th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is one between the 6-6 Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, favored by 2.5 to 3.5 points over the Delaware Fightin Blue Hens. The Cajuns, they finished in the middle of the pack in the Sun Belt West Comp Division and were 6-6 ATS this season. They were very much relying on their quarterback Lunch Winfield and their running back tandem of Elijah Davis and Zylan Perry. The only player missing for them could be their center Cooper Forum, who missed their finale game. The Blue Hens, meanwhile, they just joined Conference USA from the FCS level. Pretty strong season overall to get to a bowl game. They were just 4-7-1 ATS though. Their quarterback, Nick Minasuni, he led the conference in passing attempts and yards. They also have questionable running back Joe Silver, who played just 23 snaps in their regular season finale. BP projections, we have Louisiana by nearly 4 points. Is that the side you're on, Scott Bogman?
Yes, I am, and I was kind of surprised by it when I looked at it because Delaware statistically seems, obviously much better on offense.
Yes.
Louisiana isn't great on defense either. Like, they're just okay. I was kind of surprised that they won 6 games, but this is, again, massive travel for Delaware versus Louisiana going all the way to Alabama. So, you think about that, and also think about the fact that 5 of Delaware's 6 losses were on the road this year. They love playing at home. They haven't been as good on the road. So, I think the over is in play as well because both these defenses have been soft. But, of course, we have to have for Louisiana to win this game. We have to have our boy Lunch out there. Lunch Winfield has to be playing. But, Delaware playing at home is the name of the game, as the FIU game on September 20th was their only road win of the season all the way back in September. Their other road losses, Colorado, Jacksonville State, Liberty, Sam Houston State is an embarrassing loss to have, even on the road.
Yeah, that's fair.
Obviously, Wake Forest was a loss that wasn't surprising there, but it's the Cajuns for me in this game. I don't have a massive amount of confidence. I haven't got to watch a ton of Delaware or Louisiana this year. I watched a little bit of Delaware against Wake Forest because I had their team total under. Wake Forest defense is just nasty. But I got to go with the Cajuns here. It's just less travel. Okay. I think they'll have a bigger crowd, and Delaware has not been good on the road this year.
I'm actually going to be on the over of this one, Boggs, 57.5 points. Delaware, they have that 6th ranked passing offense. I think that will actually carve up the Cajuns' 87th ranked passing defense. And Louisiana, they're really good at running the ball, right? 29th right now in the country at their clip for rushing. And I think that should be enough to get through the Hens' 89th ranked rushing defense that is considerably worse on the road. And 5 out of the 7 last game for the Hens went over this total. They're also 6-5-1 to the over. And 7 of the last 9 Cajun games also went over this total. They're 8-4 to the over on the season. So I really like the over.
Delaware 26 in pace as well. Nice, fast pace for them.
Yes, so I think that's really – I just think the offenses can line up very nicely and attack both these, as you mentioned, soft defenses. So that's going to be my play, and let's hope for points.
Fingers crossed.
Let's go ahead. We'll round it out with the Xbox Bowl kicking off at 9 p.m. Eastern Time in Frisco, Texas. The 7-5 Missouri State Bears, they are laying between 1.5 and 2.5 points against the 6-5 Arkansas State Red Wolves. The Bears also made the jump from FCS to Conference USA, and they fared pretty well at 5-3 in conference play, also 7-5 ATS on the season. They have the 22nd ranked passing offense. They are led by senior quarterback Jacob Clark. This guy's been with them for his entire career. He also led the Conference USA in passing touchdowns with 24 of them. Their starting defensive tackle, Ryan Williams, he is questionable after missing the past 2 contests. That could be a big loss for them. Arkansas State, meanwhile, they're middle of the road coming from the Sun Belt Conference. They are 8-4 ATS on the back of their junior quarterback, Jalen Rayner, who also led the conference in passing attempts, yards, and interceptions as well. They have questionable their stud left guard Tristan Smith, who's been out since week 11, causing them to drop 3 of their last 4 against the spread. BP projections right now, we have the Bears by over a point. That's where I'm heading. What about you?
Yeah, I'm on Missouri State here, and this one is going to be extremely tight, I feel like. But I do feel like your boy Jacob Clark is the difference maker in this game. And they really just need to give him enough time to hit those explosive plays. 32nd in 10-plus yard plays this season, and I think they're going to win this one. The Bears have 5 players over 25 catches or in 400 or more yards, but no one over 550 yards. So obviously, they spread it around, they find the weakness, and hit it. That's what they do. So they're going to spread you out. They're going to pace you as well. So I really like this offense. I do think, Arkansas State has a very good passing offense behind quarterback Jalen Raynor.
Yes.
But they've struggled to put up points, 90th in scoring and in red zone scoring percentage. So I do think if Arkansas State wins this game, we're going to be hearing about the pressure that DeMarcus Hendricks, Ethan Hassler, Cody Sigler were putting against Jacob Clark, but they grade very well in pass blocking this season, right? It was 30th this season. You said, was it the Missouri State guard or was it the Arkansas State guard that's down? I'm sorry.
It is the Arkansas State left guard, Tristan Smith. And apparently from all things I'm hearing, this guy could be an NFL caliber player.
Okay, yeah. So not on the Missouri State side, though. I just wanted to make sure to make that clear. Mm-hmm. So that Missouri State offensive line is healthy. I think they're going to hold up. Not my favorite confidence. I'll be honest. I don't think I saw Missouri State play more than like 10 plays this year. Maybe I saw one game with Archie, but not a lot of these guys this season. But I do think, based on what we've seen so far, Missouri State is probably going to pull this game out.
Yeah, I actually, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's just the TV contract. I think CUSA, they have a deal with CBS Sports Network. So I had a lot of CUSA games on the TV this season, and Missouri State was actually one I got to watch a decent amount of. So I'm on the money line here. They gave Kennesaw State hell. They gave Western Kentucky a tough out as well. And they also beat FIU, man. And then also they beat Marshall on the road. That's the only Sun Belt team they faced. So I think they're in a good position here. Arkansas State, they actually lost to every non-conference opponent they faced at the FBS level this year. That includes one from the Sun Belt. So for me, I think I'm going to have to go with them. And also the Bears, better in pretty much every major statistical category we're weighing in this as well, especially in that turnover margin. Arkansas State, they really struggle there. Also, I just love this Missouri State team. I love the heart they've shown coming up from the FCS level. It seems like they've really bonded, and Clark is at the heart of it. They talk on every single broadcast how much this guy means to the program. He might be the future head coach. He might be at least on the staff in the future. So I just also believe in the Conference USA teams a lot more than the Sun Belt aside from JMU. So I think they're going to prove it here. I'm really excited about the Bears.
Yeah, let's go.
And Boggs, before we get out of here, it is time for the Hard Rock Best Bets of the Week. And what do you have for us, my friend?
I'm going to lay the points with Washington. All those guys are going to be playing. I think they're just a much better team than Boise State overall. Okay. I think there are some P4 schools that Boise State could jump up and get. I don't think Washington is one of them. So they're going to an NFL stadium in SoFi. If everyone's playing for the Huskies, give me the Huskies. I'm going to lay the points.
I'm going against you with that one that I want to fight you with. Old Dominion versus South Florida, under 55.5, minus 105 for the Cure Bowl. ODU, they lost almost that entire offensive performance, I think. Colton Joseph, he meant so much to this team. He was great. I think they're also one of the better G5 teams on defense. And I think USF's offensive staff being gone, I think that's really going to hurt them, take some of the wind out of their sails. So, plus, who knows if Brown plays that whole game. I said he pulls the Cam Ward. So
it's caveat for me. Byron Brown has to play to be on that over. And if he does play, I think they put up most of the total themselves. Yeah. So we'll see.
Okay, well, there you have it. Washington and the over in the Cure Bowl as our Hard Rock Best Bets. And, of course, today's show is brought to you by our presenting sponsor over there at Hard Rock Bet. And big news, Hard Rock Bet is now live in Michigan. So no worries. I know it was kind of an up and down season. I know you might just lost your head coach. But, hey, the holidays are here. The sports schedule is packed. Tighter than Santa's gift bag. Week 15 of the NFL season, bowl games, NBA, college hoops, hockey, the whole sports slate is loaded. And on Hard Rock Bet, you can, of course, get in on the action. There's always something to unwrap, always something to bet on. New customers, you can sign up and bet $5 on any game this week. If it wins, you'll find $150 in bonus bets on top of your winnings stuffed in your stocking this Christmas. Now, that's what I call holiday magic, folks. And if you're not sure where to place your first bet yet, no worries. Hard Rock Bet just launched a brand new For You page. It's really, really cool. They've made it so easy to find your favorite teams, players, and leagues all in one simple spot. The Hard Rock Bet Sportsbook app is the only legal sportsbook for whenever you're in the great state of Florida, maybe snowbirding it, maybe heading down the Cure Bowl or one of these other bowl games we got down there. It's also live in Arizona, Ohio, New Jersey, Indiana, Tennessee, Virginia, Illinois, Colorado, and Michigan, coming to more states very soon. Plus, Hard Rock Bet also offers new promos daily. So whenever you're listening, just fire up the app and check out what they've got going on. Download the Hard Rock Bet app now and make your first deposit. All right, and that's going to do it for us on this episode of the Betting Pros College Football Show. We will be back next week with our official picks and predictions for the first round CFP matchups and the next wave of bowl games. We'll also be live with you on the BP YouTube channel and the Fantasy Pros Twitch account for the first half of the Oklahoma-Alabama game next Friday night, 7:45 p.m. Eastern Time, for an in-game betting experience. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. Let us know down in the comments below your favorite picks for any of the games we handicapped today. And while you're here, make sure you're smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you're new. Also, be sure to download that free Betting Pros app. Sync your sportsbooks today. Start betting smarter, not harder. For Scott Bogman, I'm Seth Woolcock. Take care, y'all.
Good luck.